La da da dee da dum, da 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 dum.
Hey! Welcome back, my friends, to the only place that helps you locate parts of yourself you never knew could be missing in the first place and restores them to where they rightly belong, before you even realised they were gone. And although perhaps you'd not been feeling yourself lately... No, not in that way, please. You've never felt better than turning on, tuning in and dropping out with...
The big, oversold sound.
Oh, if Radio Boss was on constant rotation, life could be a dream, don't you think? I know the chords do.
Life could be a dream, life could be a dream. Do, 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 shaboom. Life could be a dream. If I could take you up in paradise up above. If you would tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream. Sweetheart, hello, hello again. Shaboom, and open with me to get boom. Ding dong, ding dong, lang, lang, lang. Oh, whoa, whoa, dip. A bit, but dip. Oh, life could be a dream. If only all my precious plans would come true. If you would let me spend my whole life loving you. Life could be a dream, sweetheart.
Every time I look at you, something is alright. If you do what I want you to, baby, we'd be so fine.
Oh, life could be a dream. Shaboom, if I could take you up in paradise up above. Shaboom, and tell me, darling, I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream. Sweetheart, hello, hello again. Shaboom, and open with me to get boom, boom. Oh, life could be a dream. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Shaboom, if I could take you up in paradise up above. Shaboom, and tell me, darling, I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream. Sweetheart, hello, hello again. Shaboom, and open the meeting again. Boom, boom, boom. Ding dong, ding dong, oh, life could be a dream. Life could be a dream. Do, 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 shaboom.
Oops. I did it again, baby. Yeah!
Oh, dingly dangly ding dong da with a hey na nunny and a ha cha cha. You know, that's what I love about this show. It gets to the root of all negativity and scrapes away at the metaphorical filth that has an unpleasant habit of gathering and leaves everything gleaming and fresh, doesn't it, Kitty?
Oh, yes, love. Just like me undried, lovely, slippy lino floor, darling.
Oh, you must dry it off, Kitty. We don't want any accidents now, do we? But enough of this tomfoolery, and on to our second featured artists, they being the Evesham-based Dulcimer. Signed to Larry Page's Nepenthe label in 1971, Dulcimer were a folk-based trio consisting of multi-instrumentalists Pete Hodges, Dave Eves and Jem North, and their output is of the highest order. Their first album featured narration by Richard Todd and with many well thought out and original lyrical themes and arrangements. However, as with the other four artists on the Penthe's roster, this was their sole release until 1992's Background Records put out their second 71 set, Room for Thought. Then a resurgence of sorts came with the President label releasing a trio of CDs of brand new material in the mid-90s, and I do mean 1790s, of course. However, there's still more artistically rewarding vibrations in the vaults, with their third unreleased set, Languishing, that's just awaiting an official release, and is as startling a listen as any disc Dulcimer have previously and hitherto recorded. A Land Fit for Heroes is the title of the piece, and features colloquial author Fred Archer, contributing to create the feelings, themes and experiences felt by those in rural locations during the First and Second World Wars, with the band stripped to the core duo of Pete and Dave. At one of my recent performances, I was fortunate enough to be introduced by a friend to Dulcimer's main man, Pete Hodges, who seemed to be surprised that I was aware of his work at all. And not only is Pete a top-notch artist, but he's also a most charming person to boot. I gave him a few of my albums to see what he thought of them, and he said they were very useful and helped to keep the fire alight in the cold weather. Then, the time after that, he gave me a signed copy, which I'm actually holding in my hands right now, baby, of A Land Fit for Heroes, narrated by Fred Archer with songs by Dulcimer. Dig that, baby! La 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 la. To follow, we experience another folk-based curio from Morning Phase, and that's morning with a U, you know. Their Soul 1971 set, as with Dulcimer's third, only got to the test pressing stage, but has since been reissued and acclaimed as a strange folk masterpiece. So, secondly, Morning Phase, who ring out the bells. But firstly, from the second side of Dulcimer and Fred Archer's 80, and I do mean 1780 set, they also ring out the bells. Now, let me just have a quick run across this slippy lino floor.
Oh, don't be running round on that, love.
Oh, Kitty, I thought you dried it off. Now you'll have to announce the next tunelet.
Oh, right then, here's Fred Archer.
But after the war, of course, they rang the bells then. They rang all day and pretty well all night. Well, there was no stopping them. People heard the bells who'd never heard before. And everyone knew what it meant, of course. They knew that the war was over. And everybody was happy.
What do you do when you fear invasion? What do you do as a warning sign? What do you do to tell the people? Thank God we didn't need to do it this time. But you ring out the bells. You ring out the bells. You ring out the bells. What do you do when the war is over? What do you do to celebrate? What do you do when you gain your freedom? First things first, you know we won't wait. You ring out the bells. You ring out the bells. You ring out the bells. He rang the bells for 20 years. Had to stop for the war. When the fighting ceased, he rang again, intent on 20 years more. What do you do when a girl from the country ties the knot with a boy from the town? What do? Do you keep it a secret? No, you swing on the bells and you spread it around. You ring out the bells. 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 You ring out the bells.
It's a very cool place to be.
watch the psychedelic dropouts as they psych out, psych out, psych out.
You're listening to the Big Oversoul sounds because it makes you a better person for doing so. Yes. Here's Fleetwood Mac's original manager, Clifford Davis. He made 2 extremely rare 7-inches for reprise in 69 and 70, and both feature Peter Green. I'm going to try to spin both sides of both waxings tonight, time permitting. The first spinning will be the A-side of his second disc, Come On Down and Follow Me, and it's credited to Clifford Davis and friends, although who the friends are, no one's absolutely sure. We follow Clifford with Cat, and a classic. I first saw him perform on the Old Grey Whistle test from his Teaser and the Firecat batter, that being Changes 4. But firstly, here's some rare Fleetwood Mac related vibrations. You dig? I bet you do, don't you? Yes.
One night I lay awake in bed when a voice I knew whispered to me. It said I had to make a decision as to what kind of man I would be. It said, you've lost your sense of direction, your trip is going one way, you need to have some correction, come on, I'll show you the way. Come on down and follow me, come see what life holds in store. Come on down and follow me, you needn't wait around no more. I'll show you a house filled with corridors, of which there are many wide rooms. Just step inside and take a look around, see what the future holds for you. He tells me of the life you led, of all the pains you had to bear. Room B sees another side of you, says deep down inside you really care. Room C says that there's a chance for you, just act and do what you think's right. Room D says that you can make it, I know you'll find Room B is right. Tell your friends wherever they be of all the things I've said. Next time in town, invite them around, then they too can follow me. Alright now, come on down and follow me, come see what life holds in store. Come on down and follow me, I can't wait around no more. Come on down and follow me, come see what life is in store. Come on down and follow me.
Don't you feel a change coming from another side of time? Breaking down the walls of silence, lifting shadows from your mind, placing back the missing mirrors that before you couldn't find, filling mysteries of emptiness that yesterday left behind. And we all know it's better than yesterday past. Now let's all start living for the one that's going to last. Yes, we all know it's better than yesterday past. Now let's all start living for the one that's going to last. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, yeah. Don't you feel the day is coming, and it won't be too soon, when the people of the world can all live in one room. That's when we shake off the ancient chains of our two. We will all be born again of the eternal womb. And we all know it's better than yesterday's past. Now let's all start living for the one that's going to last. Yes, we all know it's better than yesterday's past. Now let's all start living for the one that's going to last. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's all start living it. Let's all start living for the one that's going to last. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, behave!
You're listening to
The Big Oversoul Sound.
And we're beaming from my here to your there on the OT Waveband. That spells. And next up on tonight's show lit for the well-being of your mind, body and soul, brothers and sisters and brothers. Yes, there's no excess favouritism here on planet Xylon. We'll spin the Blue Rondo's 1964 Pie A-side, Little Baby. This hotly compressed beat toe tapper appeared recently on an American bootleg of Joe Meek Productions entitled The Emotional, Cosmic and Occult World of Joe Meek. And whilst the album's top-notch bootleg selection, as you can probably tell from the title, I can't help but feel there's a distortion of truth, fact and understanding surrounding Joe's legend. What I'm trying to express is, as history expands, so does it become distorted from its initial truth, time and setting. For example, we here at Radio Boss have been spinning cuts from the Everly Brothers' Roots album, the Kinks' Village Green Preservation, and the Captain's Trout Mask for yonks, you know, even when they didn't sell and some misguided folks were almost ashamed to own them, which wasn't all that long ago, you know, kids. Before they became fashionably bourgeois, baby, by the I can't seem to quite catch up with what's going on, so with this magazine from Smith's, I'm going to be down with the kids and really expand my mind reader, you know. You dig that? Do you know what I mean? I do. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's the lack of soul behind such actions that render them embarrassing to the otherwise mind-expanded. So, to make sure I get in first this time, I'm going on record as saying Danny Kerwin completely changed Fleetwood Mac for the better, is a genius, and dare I say, didn't even need to think about how to do it because Danny was thought, man. You dig? And the Kinks' Preservation Acts 1 and 2 are just as, and possibly more worthy than Village Green, because rather like Roots period Everly's, Ray hit his stride and matured as the most consummate artist will, usually just at the point that they're written off as being too old to rock and roll and unhit, baby. And John Fogerty peaked with Pendulum, not before. I could go on, but shan't because it's boring. And so instead, let's spin Stoned on Rock from Neil Innes's Double Off the Record set, which, along with his Innes Book of Records, forms a complete resume of his work for the late 70s television show of the same name. So, secondly, Ron Nasty. But firstly, here's the Blue Rondo sounding a bit like Roy Orbison. Fancy that, little baby.
band is about to hit it big time. We're going to win Battle of the Bands, and when I'm rolling in the Benjamins, I will throw you and your dog a bone. Good night.
I'm so stoned, I'm rocking. So stoned, I'm rocking. I dig it with my body and my soul. I'm so stoned, I'm rocking. So stoned, I'm rocking. So stoned, I'm rocking. And well, it's an even bet that the sun will set before I get much older. Though life is hard to take, I won't quake or shake. I got the rock to make me bolder. I'm so stoned, I'm rocking. So stoned, I'm rocking. I dig it with my body and my soul. I'm so stoned, I'm rocking. So stoned, I'm rocking. So stoned, I'm rocking. And I see the lightning flash, I hear the thunder crash, I feel my senses smashed to pieces, and then I lose control, and I give my soul to what the rock and roll really say. I'm so stoned, I'm rocking. So stoned, I'm rocking. I dig it with my body and my soul. I'm so stoned, I'm rocking. So stoned, I'm rocking. So stoned, I'm rocking. And
Your psychedelic vibration.
Oh! Hey, I'm stoned on rock too, baby. In fact, I'm as stoned as Brian. No, not that one.
Now you listen here. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy.
Yes, that's the one I mean. Next up, let's dig a second cut from our second featured artist's Dulcimer, this time from the A-side of their A Land Fit for Heroes unreleased exclusive to Radio Boss disc. But before we dig a tune from Mr. Mooney, let's march to a different tune of a different beat, from the album We Say No to Your War by the Covered Wagon Musicians. This record's booklet credits napalm sticks to kids to Air Force and Army GIs attached to the 1st Air Cavalry in Vietnam. A group of GIs sat down one night in a hooch in Vietnam to write these words. Each person made a verse about an incident in which he had taken part, and the poem expresses their collective bitterness toward the military that had turned them into murderers. Heavy. Well, you know, I've heard another version of this song given a more jokey reading, but don't dig it. For me, this has a Lou Reed-esque delivery and is preferable. So, secondly, Dulcimer with pathos, but firstly, a Covered Wagon musician without. Dig!
We shoot the sick, the young, the lame. We do our best to kill and maim. Because the kills all count the same, napalm sticks to kids. Flying low across the trees, pilots doing what they please, dropping frags on refugees. Napalm sticks to kids. Flying low and looking mean, see that family by the stream. Drop some nape and hear 'em scream. napalm sticks to kids. A group of gooks in the grass, but all the fighting's long since past. Crispy youngsters in a mass, napalm sticks to kids. Drop some napalm on the barn, it won't do much harm. Just burn off a leg or an arm, napalm sticks to kids. Gather kids as you fly over town by tossing candy on the ground. Then grease them when they gather round, napalm sticks to kids. Ox cart rolling down the road, peasants with a heavy load. They're all VC when the bombs explode, napalm sticks to kids. Cobras flying in the sun, killing gooks is macho fun. It's one pregnant, it's 2 for 1, napalm sticks to kids. There's a gook down on her knees, launch some flechettes into the breeze. Her arms are nailed to the trees, napalm sticks to kids. Blues out on a road recon, see some children with their mom. What the hell, let's drop the bomb, napalm sticks to kids. They're in good shape for the shape they're in, but God, I wonder how they can win with napalm running down their skin. Napalm sticks to kids. CIA with guns for hire, mountain guards around the fire. Napalm makes the fire higher. Napalm sticks to kids. 18 kids in a no-fire zone, books on their arm as they go home. Last in line goes home alone, napalm sticks to kids.
Tune on your spoons, Mr. Mooney, tonight there will be a full moon. You can dance, you can sing, you can kick up a din, Mr. Mooney, please play us a tune. You'll make a good soldier, well, that's what they told you goodbye. You fought in the trenches, you kissed the French wenches, but slept on the benches since they sent you home all alone. Play us a tune on your spoons, Mr. Mooney, tonight there will be a full moon. You can dance, you can sing, you can kick up a din, Mr. Mooney, please play us a tune. You've begged and you've groveled, you've limped and you've hobbled around. They say you got shell-shocked, but you're just an old crock who ran out of good luck when they sent you home all alone. Play us a tune on your spoons, Mr. Mooney, tomorrow is coming too soon. Oh, we'll dance and we'll sing and we'll kick up a din, Mr. Mooney, please play us. Oh, won't you play for us, Mooney, please play us a song.
Radio Bass is wonderful.
Hey! Do you remember where you were before the beginning of tonight's delectably, deliriously, deliciously deranged aural soundscape that your ear holes simply love to ingest? Hey, I remember visiting planet Earth, and rather like your Reader's Digest, we on planet Xylon subscribed 12 aeons ago to the listener's ingest, and no matter how many times one cancels their subscription, it never fails to spew forth through the letterbox. And unlike... It's so uninteresting to listen to. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yes. Do you remember where you were the first time you heard Dulcimer? I know my barnyard friends do.
Quackity-quack-quack.
Oh, and those rustic soundscapes, and that sounds with the silent P, of course, conjuring memories. But what of, you may ask? Well, I'd love to tell you, but I can't remember. You see, I remember everything except the bits I forgot to. And here's a song about the bits that weren't forgotten.
Hey, try this, man. Focus on the light. Release your life energies in abundant flow. Glow and radiation penetrate into the acid lucidity. Clarify your focus. Make your destination clear. Dissolve into the directionless. Create the floating. Join the direct flow. Let go the static tenseness in sighing submission to the power-heavy universe. Let resistance and strength dissolve into earth particles. The pulsing will remind you that you can be reminded of the infinite. Take a deep breath and hear the silent scream that lights up your mind. Focus on the incandescence. Focus on the light. Focus on the focusing on the light. That's where Jimmy and Janice are waiting for you, man. You know?
Cassidy and Ginsburg, man. I remember the Playboys, the Cowboys, and the Queens. Video nasties and electric blue screens. Blackwell, Goddard, Meek, Towns,
rainbow swirls for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Joan Littlewood and Lionel Bart. Yes, rocking at the Two Eyes Coffee Bar. Oh yes, Shinito Osborne and Barry Keith. Angry young men and revolutionaries. And no memories but faded dreams. I still think of Fleetwood Mac in t-shirts and jeans. I remember the night while the Cronkite said JFK was just shot dead. I remember the road. I remember. Hey, everybody remember. Do you remember? Like I remember. Hey, everybody remember. Everybody remember. Hey, remember.
Shine in time, we can shine. Wow, man, what a trip.